I'm here in Medjugorje and I'm with, what's your name?
Rosemary.
And?
Maureen.
And where are you from, Maureen?
I'm from Townsville in Australia.
And?
Townsville, Queensland, Australia, Northern Australia.
Unbelievable. And for you, the first time here?
Yes.
When did you hear the first time about Medjugorje and what did you think at the time when you heard the story?
Many years ago, probably around the time of the apparition, really. And we've always been interested in it. And I had a little memorial card from the mother of a friend of my daughter's that I kept precious for years. So yes.
And when did you hear the first time? What did you think when you heard about Medjugorje?
Well, it's a long time ago. I can't actually recall. I was interested. Then I think I lost interest, and then in recent years I've had friends who've been here and who've talked about it and found it very inspirational and helped them spiritually. So.
And then you decided to come and now you're here the first days. How is the experience to be here now?
It's very different. It's very good now. We have found our bearings. At the start, being off season was a little bit different because the program was different. We went to Mass thinking it would be English and it was in Croatian, and the second one was Vietnamese. We stayed for the whole Mass, but this morning we have been to an English Mass and that was lovely to be able to hear and understand the homily fully, which was beautiful. Now that we've settled in and seen more of the town, and we have a friend who lives here who has a daughter very close to my daughter in Australia, so we met her yesterday. And she took us to the cross where Christ has risen, the resurrection cross where you touch it for the little moisture.
Yeah, with
so
the risen
we have
Christ.
gone and bought the little wipes, and we're going back there to take some home. We have some relatives who are very unwell, so we want to take some back. And so we're doing that kind of thing and just looking at everything around the church and taking it all in. So yes.
Have you been at the veneration of the cross yesterday?
Not the veneration of the cross. We are going, but we haven't been there yet.
So you go tonight to adoration?
Yes.
And for you, the first days now, what is the impression being in Medjugorje?
Well, it was different from what I had anticipated. I thought there would be more organised activity, people who might be able to direct us, but it has been a little bit difficult to get some information. But as Rosemary said, we met up with somebody yesterday and I think we're on the right track now.
That's, there's a spiritual law here. It said when a person comes to Medjugorje, Our Lady takes over as a tour guide. You just wander around and you will be brought where you should be.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah.
And you are cradle Catholics, always Catholic?
Yes.
Never doubted?
No.
What is so beautiful about our Catholic faith for you?
Well, I think the sacraments, sacramental life, and the spiritual traditions, which go back
and
thousands of years.
Yeah, and it said Medjugorje is the confessional of the world. You go often to confession?
When I feel I need to, yes.
And what would you tell people? A lot of people come here after 30 years, they go to confession, they are scared to go. What would you tell them? Why not to be scared, and what is beautiful about confession?
I see it as an encounter with the merciful Christ, and that would be the way
beautiful.
I would.
And for you, confession, what would you tell people?
I haven't been quite so frequently in recent years, so it's interesting to come here, and I think that I am going to go while I'm here. I think that has renewed confession. Sometimes life takes over and you just don't necessarily, you have faith and you're living the faith as best you can, but some things, a little bit like the homily this morning, some things you don't quite keep up with as much, so there's been a renewal of that, so yes. Yeah.
We are all a work in progress, aren't we?
Exactly, we are, absolutely, as is the whole global church is really a work in progress, isn't it?
Amen.
As well.
And Padre Pio said the spiritual weapon of our time is the rosary. You pray the rosary?
I do, I do. Not as much as I might have once. It might have been daily, but I do, not as much. But I do have faith in the rosary, and I do still say
What is it for you?
prayers. I think it's that time of when you're thinking of the mysteries of the rosary, where you're actually thinking of Christ and Mary in their life and relating it to your own life and faith, really. This is how I find it.
Wow, beautiful.
Right through to the sorrowful, I mean, I think we all have
the sorrows.
We all have connections, don't we?
Yes. And for you, the rosary prayer.
It's not a devotion that I have strongly practiced for quite a while. I'm thinking maybe being here might regenerate something.
Yes. You look, we are all a work in progress. Nobody is perfect. I'm praying it. Sometimes, you know what helps me? I prayed with YouTube. I put YouTube on there. There are rosary prayers from Lourdes in English, French, Spanish, and it's easier to pray alone. I can't concentrate on it, something like that. And Holy Mass, the Eucharist. A lot of people don't understand the Eucharist. What is the Eucharist for you? Can you explain the Eucharist?
Well, I appreciate it as like the sacrament of the Word and the Eucharist, listening to the Scriptures, trying to apply those to my life and to meditate on them, and then the liturgy of the Eucharist, the Eucharistic prayer, and there's so much depth of meaning. Couldn't explain it now, and I think each day, each time I go, it's different, because a different aspect might speak to me, or different words from Eucharistic prayer might.
Yes, so beautiful how you said, because it's the whole liturgy. It's not only the Eucharist, the Holy Mass. It's amazing, no?
Yeah.
And for you, the Eucharist, can you explain?
I think something that has stood out for me in the last few days is the first one we went to was in Croatian. Could not get a seat inside the church at all, so stood the whole time, which after coming off up the fairly long trip was a wee bit difficult, but well worth it.
Why was it well worth?
Well, I think because the Mass is still the Mass, isn't it? No matter what language it's in, so you really knew where it was at, even though you couldn't understand the language. And some people had those things. We didn't have them. And then at communion time, the priest just seemed to appear at a door where I had gone outside because I couldn't stand any longer, and then it was cold out there, so I came back in the back door, and yet he was still right there with the Eucharist at communion time to give to the little group that was by the back door. You know, it was very special.
And what would you tell people, what is Medjugorje all about, or what is Medjugorje for you? Experiencing it a few days now.
It's a very personal experience, isn't it? But I have in my life, I've had a devotion to Mary from the time I was little. There was a novena to Our Lady of Perpetual Succour every Saturday afternoon in the town that I came from. And my mother and sister were used to go to that from the time I was, yay high. And so Medjugorje has kind of built on that. My father died on Our Lady of Perpetual Succour's feast day, which, some people will go, oh, that's nothing, but to me it's significant. My first child was born on Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and I have two grandchildren born on the 8th of September, different families. Wow. And so to me, I'm not a great, Catholic or person or whatever. You're a person of faith just trying to live your life, but they are all very significant to me, with all the faults and foibles that go on in life. And so Medjugorje, I think, fits into that for me, that Mary has always been special, and the apparitions and what she's asking, and probably at this age in life, you've raised your family, you've done certain things, maybe you've got a little bit more time to come back and focus on, which shouldn't necessarily be the case, but sometimes life does take over and things get in the way, and that's life.
I think maybe it's a thank you from Our Lady, all these signs, all that you kept the devotion. What would you tell Protestant people? They don't understand Our Lady. Is it true she's leading to Jesus? That's her role?
I think that is true, but I know some Protestant people who aren't absolutely closed to Mary either.
What do they say?
Well, they wouldn't have possibly the same devotion as such, but they certainly, many that I know, do recognise Mary as a power of faith and source of faith.
A spiritual guide.
Yeah, absolutely.
A role model.
Yep.
Thy will be done in my life. Do you make the experience when you live that thy will be done in my life, that your life becomes easier flowing? Did you try that out?
I don't know.
Try it out.
Maybe we need to try that out. I probably can't say yes, absolutely, but hopefully, sometimes everybody has their, you've got your faith, you've got relationships, you've all sorts of things that are complex in life that one needs to try to just unite and live well with love.
And for you, you also had a devotion to Our Lady in your life? Or?
Not a very strong devotion. Since I've been here, some words that have been coming to me were, "Son, behold your mother," and I'm thinking maybe that's something that Jesus is saying, "Behold your mother," and I would dearly love that to be a reality in my life and to have a much stronger devotion.
Beautiful. And after these few days now, what is Medjugorje for you? What would you tell people?
What would I tell people?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's an ongoing experience. I don't think it's something that's already happened. I think I'm waiting for something perhaps to unfold or to just, reflect on what is happening day by day and to see where it leads.
Yes. You have a favorite Bible scripture? Something out of the Bible? What you like? A story? Or?
Well, I have many passages that I really love, and they're different day by day, depending on the situation. And I could not
Remember one now
one.
exactly. And what would you tell your younger self, or 18-year-old, as in life advice? What would you tell them?
What would I tell my younger self?
18 years old? What to change or do to have a happy life?
Well, I really believe that the relationship with Jesus, with God, is central, and I would hope that, say, the younger members of the family would come to appreciate and to have that experience.
Yes, a relationship with Jesus. And what would you tell your younger self then, 18 years old, as an advice?
I've been reflecting a little bit since I've been here, and sometimes we have moments not of full doubt, but when you don't fully appreciate something. And I have found at St. Thomas's prayer of, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, coming to mind, not because I don't believe here, but simply the depth of belief.
Make it
and
deepen.
maybe making that deeper and understanding more the full impact of Mary here and carrying that through. If that makes sense.
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have been married a long time.
I have. I had 40 years of marriage, but my husband died 6 years ago. So I'm this is the first time I've done a trip like this.
And what would you tell? A lot of people struggle these days, young people, to keep the marriage running. What would you tell them?
Look, marriage is a partnership. It's not meant to be, it's not always easy. But if there's love, I think that's what cements a marriage and family. And everybody has their ups and downs, but we're very blessed and we have a lovely family. But that doesn't mean that life doesn't touch. So I think it's just about having faith in one another. Having said that, I won't judge. Some marriages don't work, and I'm not going to judge on that at all.
That's not our role.
But no, it's not for us to do. But yes, if it does work, it's very good.
It's very good. I see it. You smile. And for you, you have been married?
No,
not
I've
married?
never been married. No.
But see, that's good too. How was that life?
Well, I've had a really full life, an interesting life, lots of experiences, lots of people that I've known, and opportunities. Yeah,
I see it. You have shining eyes, beautiful shiny eyes. What can I say? Thank you to both of you for that beautiful interview.
Thank you very much.